It is so nice out. So, I saw a post today from someone who talked about how, well, I'm going to say in general, they talked about how hobbies can become overwhelming. And I like to talk about kind of like geek life balance and stuff. And it's true, hobbies can become very overwhelming, but they were also talking about, like they relate, and I think it's a very relatable thing, and I think you are never alone in that. And we just have to remember why we started the hobby in the first place. Like, why did we get into it? And it's because we loved it, right? Or at least if it is something that you loved, we need to remind ourselves to just enjoy it and not make it a chore. It's not a job. And however, it is your job if it has something to do with your income or your way of life, how you make a living. Well, then even more important than to make sure you enjoy it. Otherwise, either way, don't make it a chore. You know what I mean? And I think that's really important to remember, because I remember when I was, like, for example, with comics, I would collect and I would never be caught up, and they come out every week, and I would end up making it like a chore. It's like, I have to read this, I have to finish this, I have to, like, I have to do all this and do this, like it's like homework. And I end up not quite as enjoying it as much, and that's a problem. You want to have a hobby that brings you joy and makes you feel good, not make you feel like crap, right? So I just wanted to talk about that. It's really important that we take care of ourselves and realign and listen to those things. Stop and enjoy your hobby. Enjoy it. Don't make it a chore. And when you start feeling overwhelmed and stressed out about it, that's when you should just stop again and reassess why you got into it in the first place, why you love it. And for some people, a hobby could be a coping mechanism, and that's okay, And as a coping mechanism, you should enjoy it too, It shouldn't have to be a chore, right? It's so nice outside, so I was like, I'm gonna go outside. Life is too short to stress about things you enjoy. It's like, that's not why you got into it. And if for some reason you're not enjoying it anymore, it's not a genuine love for it that started in the first place, then maybe it's something that you rethink and reassess and refocus on something else. Find something else that you do love and can enjoy now. If it's changed for some reason. People do things for different reasons. Like I said, maybe originally it was some kind of coping mechanism and you no longer need it. And really, now it's just holding you back. Now it's just become a chore. It's long overstayed its welcome. It's, what do you call it? It's become a detriment, and those are things that we need to reassess, and hopefully there's somebody in our life that can help us with that if we don't recognize it. Sometimes we get stuck in a pattern and we end up doing something and we're actually kind of zombies and just killing time. You know what I mean? We're just killing time. Yeah, we're being zombies and just letting life pass us by and saying that we're busy or that we're doing this hobby or we have to do this when really we don't have to do it, especially when we don't really enjoy it, and especially if we're just using it to zone out and to disappear. I mean, honestly, that's a big reason why I obsessed over collecting comics for the longest time, and it definitely was a coping mechanism for me because it's something that I could look forward to every single week, give me a reason to be excited for each week that comes. You know, it was definitely a coping mechanism at first, and then when I started collecting, then I started feeling overwhelmed, and like new comics will come out and I haven't read the previous issue yet, and so I end up reading stuff that I might necessarily not like the most, but I'm not sure if I want to buy the next issue, so I'll read those issues first versus reading the ones I actually do like first, because I know I'm going to buy those, so I'm just not going to read them. So I end up reading all the ones I'm not sure about that I might not like as much, just to determine whether or not to buy the next issue, while not reading the ones I actually like. And then it's constant catch up, you know, and so I never actually finish the ones I like sometimes, and that's definitely has happened. I have a ton of collection of comics that I've actually not even read for years, you know, and it becomes very overwhelming. Things that we own become like a burden to us, especially if you're collecting. If your hobby involves collecting stuff, it's like it becomes this burden. Every time you move or you think you might have to move, it'll stress you out because you're like, oh, there's all that I have to bring with me. I have to relocate, or I have to store somewhere, or I have to organize. It's just a weight on your shoulder. And that's not really fun, right? And sometimes technology helps because, like, you know, when comics became digital, when things that you are doing as a hobby become easier to do, like become digital, you end up being able to do more of it, or, you know, it takes up less space and you have more of an excuse to get more. And sometimes that helps, and then sometimes it's just another burden eventually, you know. But I did end up stopping collecting my comics. I never thought I would ever stop because I did get overwhelmed, and then money did become an issue. And it's funny because in the past, when I had no money, I would still buy comics no matter what. But then one year, at some point, I can't remember when, I just stopped. And now I read digitally, but I'm much more okay about just taking it easy and just enjoying what I'm reading, and not feel like I have to read everything and have to be caught up with what's the new and what's the greatest and the best, and have to buy everything and then have to read everything and have to collect everything and have to organize everything. So it's much more manageable now, much more easy to enjoy and less stressful. And that's what hobbies should be. Unless, I don't know, I mean, for some people, they thrive on the stress, right? So, I mean, everything, you know, has a balance. So, you know, like everything else, it's between the extremes, you know. So, do what you gotta do, but I just wanted to talk about it. I don't know, what do you guys think? How are you with your hobbies? Do you feel like you have a nice balance between a healthy hobby and life, or is your hobby taking over your life